Welcome to Street Talk. We are going to hit the streets and ask people about their perspective on Christians.
I'm not gonna lie, when they put their hands in the air, it freaks me out.
Don't really know many Christians.
Shaking and getting the demons out of them, and they're like, no, like get on your knees.
When they're like letting him in.
I don't know how you could believe in that.
I think a lot of the public's opinions on Christians is just like, Christianity isn't real and that they're like delusional and that it's inherently like bad.
So what do you think, in your opinion, that Christians are known for?
Fake kindness.
I've found some that are truly amazing and some that are extremely narrow in their views. It's the whole gamut of human experience is involved with Christians.
Well, not fake. I mean, very they're known to be quite welcoming and friendly and all good and stuff, but with a very dark, I don't know, strict set of rules. We'll be nice to you on these, conditions, yeah.
Taking their religion seriously.
Just believing in God.
Don't really know many Christians.
Very modest and very respectful.
Well, I'm a Christian. We're just known for just being kind, caring people.
They don't try and throw it in your face. They're quite chilled. They'll respect your views as well. It's not they're correct and that's it. They're open to knowing your thoughts. Part of the community, aren't they? And so are we. So
I think it depends on who you ask, but I've always had really good relationships with friends that are Christians, and they've always been very giving and always very open to accepting other people no matter how they are and making sure they just want the best for them.
I don't know. Probably not great things. I think there's stereotypes negatively.
Like what would some of those be?
Well, I don't know. I guess sometimes people think they're pushy or something, I guess, that they force everyone to believe in that. But I don't think that's true.
And obviously we live in a pretty secular society. So I think a lot of the public's opinions on Christians is just Christianity isn't real and that they're delusional and that it's inherently bad, which I don't think is true.
It depends who you ask as well. You ask someone who's Christian, they'll be like, oh, we're all loving and accepting and we're perfect. Or not perfect, but yeah. And then you ask someone who's very against religion, they'll be like, oh, toxic, forces religion, all that stuff.
Do you think that Christians are relatable?
No, not at all. I guess. I don't know. As relatable as any other person.
Yeah, you can find anyone relatable.
Again, it depends who. I mean, in the sense that you're super lost and you're trying to find something to believe in. I mean, but most of them won't admit that's the reasoning behind it. But no, I don't find it relatable. I don't know how you could believe in that.
In terms of Christianity, no, because I'm not one. But I don't know, it depends who they are.
For the most part, yes.
I think there's a lot of stereotypes, but Christians are just normal, everyday people.
The other part, what would you say?
I think that some of them can be pretty closed off to thoughts of other beliefs and, they're very much this is Christianity's the only way, which is respect for them, but just not how I personally feel.
As a Christian, I'd say yeah.
Very good. You got friends, yeah? They're relating to you?
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what religion you are, you can be accepted or be accepted by anyone.
Yeah, a bit of both. I think it depends on the person. Definitely can just be, as Nikki said, someone who's a little closed off and not really wanting to accept new things.
Some opinions from the church are a little bit outdated and not up to date with today's society.
Do you find Christians cringy?
Not her, that's for sure. Not you.
I'm not gonna lie, when they put their hands in the air, it freaks me out.
Why would you say cringy? Is that the one the hands in the air waving they don't care?
Just when they're letting him in.
Yes.
The whole thing is around one dude. It's weird, have your own opinion, you know? I see how people could find certain Christians cringe.
Sometimes how they look or sometimes how they approach.
I mean, okay, again, it depends, but there'll be those TikTok lives and then it's people shaking and getting the demons out of them and they're like, no, get on your knees, stay still. And it's what are you doing? What do you think you're achieving here? I don't know. That's pretty cringy in my opinion. And also the whole oh, we give all of our love to you. We are living for this one person. It's like, love yourself, man. Stop like believing in this sky god.
Never crossed my mind. No, never.
No, I think other religions or beliefs kind of overdo it sometimes, but as Paul said, I think Christians are very normal, everyday people, and they're selfless and kind, so they don't kind of inflict too many of their own thoughts and views on other people. They just allow everyone to embrace their own.
No, not at all.
It really depends on the person. Some people, it's like they totally fly under the radar.
Yeah.
Obviously, in media, you do see it a bit cringy. Like, you know, you have TV shows that are very based on super Christian families, and just everything that they do is just to the extreme.
I guess it depends on the way that they go about it. Like, I've had a guy who once approached me on the street and asked if I was gay, and I was like, yeah. And then he was like, can I pray for you? Oh, no. And I was like, too scared to say no.
Yeah.
So I found that
That's cringy.
a bit cringe, if not very, like, extremely straightforward and scary.
Sometimes shockingly so. But especially like some Americans in particular, like certain branches.
I think there are some Christian branches that probably take it too far. You know, they're probably trying to spread it a bit too far and try to, I guess, spread the words to an extreme. I think the whole point about Christianity is that you just, you know, you got to care and love unto others that do unto you, and you know, that's how it should be.
No, not really. No.
Or any movies that you've watched that you think, that's a bit too much, or...
I can't really think of any movies I've watched that have got it in like that.
Almost horror films where they kind of come and save the day with Christian and God. That's the only thing I can think of.
I've never heard that one before.
Good answer.
That's
Very
awesome.
random, but that's what I just thought.
Yeah. The most horrible. And so water comes, as you can see, and the water ripples. It's kind of like the life spring of the Lord Jesus. Do you think Christians represent Jesus well?
My mum's Jewish, so I don't know. Because I'm like, well, the way that she represents Jesus is, I don't know, in my head it's like better.
It depends on what kind of Christian.
Only some of them are, but most of them don't.
The Christian church I grew up in was pretty like fundamentalist, pretty conservative. I don't think that they represent what Jesus taught in the Bible. But when I went to school in the Catholic school, I met a lot of Christians who were like genuinely very kind and caring and accepting of like all communities. And obviously the Pope did come out and say that he was in support of like everyone no matter what. So I think that's what a pretty good representation of Jesus Christ is.
Not all of them, but most of them, I guess.
Some yes, some definitely not.
I'm going to say no.
Not every single Christian, but like true Christians, yeah.
And that's, I mean, obviously some do, but I'm going to say a vast majority misunderstand certain things or interpret certain things other people don't. And I think that there's too much of a concentration on trying to go by a certain code rather than listening to the message in general. So it gets lost in the details.
I feel like there's like a spectrum of how like devoted people are in terms of that. I feel like you could probably meet some bad Christians.
That doesn't mean they're bad, but I just think they focus on the wrong things.
Yeah, I do.
And why do you say that?
Because they're passionate about what they believe in.
Some who are so narrow in their thought processes that they, in my term, aren't Christian, they're bigots.
Yes. And I think when you believe in something and you love something and you're passionate about it, that's a great representation.
Certain Christians probably do think that they represent Jesus the way that they think Jesus is. And it like depends on what you think Jesus is in the way that you represent him. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. My sister, I think she went to a Christian school, and they would always go to church quite often. In the mornings, and they made it really fun and great, and I thought I'd want to be a part of that. It looks really fun.
Christians say that, you know, Jesus is love and he's accepting and, you know, all are welcome. Would you say Christians represent that well in society, or what do you think?
Well, there are definitely more accepting Christians like these days from, I guess, our generation. But I think overall, especially in the older generations, no. Like it's, oh, we love everyone under our conditions. And I guess their idea of love for people who don't fit their definition is we love people who sin and we will heal them. But it's like, what you think is a sin, other people may not. And so you loving them for their sins is not really like accepting, it's just more judgmental.
Was that good? But a bit more. Okay, stop it. Take two.